Today we have Tim Chesnut in here for an interview about his campaign for House District 46. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks a lot for having us.
Oh, of course. So what is your background kind of with the state of Wyoming and Albany County as a whole?
So I was an Albany County Commissioner for 20 years, so I've got, that's what I think one of my strengths in going to the legislature could be, is because one of the things I really want to focus on is local government funding and things like that. Local government, over the years I've seen a lot of county commissioners that move on to the state legislature and they seem to forget about the towns and counties, and I think that's a really important thing right now, especially with the budget cuts the state's facing, but they trickle down to the counties and the cities and the towns, and a lot of times that's forgotten. So the state wants to cut, but then those cuts trickle down to where it actually affects the people, which is at the cities and towns and counties.
Okay, awesome. And I always ask like House District members this, where exactly does House District 46 cover?
So House District 46 is kind of the odd outlier in the county because it goes from 15th Street, 15th and Grand, and then it wraps around all of the county. So it goes out to Sherman Hills, around to Centennial, and then almost up to Rock River. So it's almost all of the southern part of the county, and then just the southern part of Laramie.
Okay, so that's a pretty big chunk.
Yeah,
oh.
And it's a lot of rural. It's a traditionally Republican district. It's been in Republican hands for as long as I can remember, and so just kind of looking to shake things up a little bit.
All right. What inspired you to run for House District 46? I know you said a little bit at the beginning, but if there's anything further you wanted to say about that.
No, I think one of the reasons I've gotten into this is about healthcare, and it's not going to be my chief issue. I'm a disabled person, and I think healthcare is key in the minds of a lot of people. A lot of the percentage of our income now goes to healthcare, and I think it's been the people at the lower income level in Wyoming have fallen through the cracks. One of the reasons I want to get to the legislature is there isn't much balance in the legislature right now, or ever. And so when we get more balance in the legislature, we can get things out of committees, because a lot of times things don't even get out of committees that people of Wyoming really care about. And one of the main things that doesn't get out of committee are revenue issues, but then also Medicaid. And I think Medicaid expansion is important for the state of Wyoming. We're seeing now 38 states have expanded to Medicare expansion. Wyoming is one of the outliers, and I think the citizens of Wyoming really care about that. Over 18,000 people in Wyoming are underinsured or not insured at all. And the state of Wyoming the legislature has made it really hard for those people to even get Medicaid. Like I said, I'm a disabled person, and I don't qualify for Medicaid because there's a work requirement in Wyoming for it. And it's a fairly minimal thing, but when you're disabled, it's really hard to get a job. I've been trying to find a job for several years, and I haven't been able to, so I don't qualify for Medicaid. More than nearly 20,000 people in Wyoming don't. And Medicaid expansion it seems like a no-brainer. Like I said, 38 states have done it. The way a lot of federal grants work, most federal grants are a 20, 30, or even 50% match. Medicaid's a 10% match. The only other things in the time I was county commissioner that are a 10 or a 5% match are aviation funding. And so it's so many unemployed and underinsured or not insured people could benefit from Medicaid. And until we get a balance and get the entire legislature to vote on these things, it's not going to be something that happens in Wyoming.
Okay. And along with Medicaid, what are some of the other issues you're hoping to focus on as well, if
really,
you were
I think
elected?
one of the things I'd like to talk about is funding for cities and counties. One of the things that the legislature, I think, has done is really think of the cities and counties as adversary. So Waco, which is the Wyoming Association of Counties, and then WAM, which is the Wyoming Association of Municipalities. And the way the cities and counties get funded are as good as their lobbying efforts. We had a great guy at the county level named Pete Obermiller, who's now with, I can't believe it, it's one of the, he's with a different group now, but he did really well to get the counties to get a good portion of the funding. But then when you get a good lobbyist at WAM, then it shifts. And until we get equitable funding, and then where you've got cities and counties like Campbell County, they have over $140 million in reserves. Albany County has less than $1 million. And that's, until we start looking at the equity to the counties that, the Westons, the Crooks, the Albanys, that don't have the mineral wealth, but do have, and especially Laramie, where we have the University of Wyoming, where the students it's a great thing for Albany County. We wouldn't be here without the university, but the students don't pay for the roads and the streets and the funding that really needs to be done. And until something happens where we can get a balance of that, then all the counties like Albany and Weston and the poor counties just continue to fall further behind.
Okay. Any other issues along with that you could think of?
Yeah, one of the things I want to look at is in researching and when I was deciding to run for this, one of the things that I see in the legislature is the lack of females. And when you look at the makeup of the legislature, the women that are in office, they're from Cheyenne, Laramie, Casper, so and then somewhat Teton County. But I think when you look at the different issues that women face in running for office than men, child care, being at the legislature for 6 weeks or 8 weeks during the sessions, women can't walk away from their families like men can. And so I think what I would like to see is either a daycare set up at the Capitol for women that need child care, or a fund set up where you make $125 a day when the legislature's in session, but that doesn't pay for child care, not even close to paying for child care. So I think one of the things I'd like to do is look at getting it so it's more, it's easier for women to run and actually leave their families for 6 to 8 weeks to go to Cheyenne and serve in the legislature. Another thing, I think it's interesting how Republicans talk about often we don't want to subsidize businesses, but then they do subsidize the minerals and things like that. But one of the things that I think is really odd that most people don't know, and it's archaic, the legislation is over 100 years old, that cities, towns, and counties have to publish their minutes in the local newspaper. Well, we see what the local newspapers are doing, that less than 10% of people in Wyoming actually subscribe to a newspaper. So the Albany County, we're unique in that we only have the city of Laramie, Rock River, and Albany County, but we're spending over $100,000 a year putting our minutes of our meetings in the Laramie Boomerang. And it seems to me like the Albany County has a website, the city of Laramie has a website. I'm not sure about Rock River, but those things can be published in a different way, in a 21st century way. And then also, I know a lot of people do read the minutes in the newspaper, but those things, the Albany County Clerk Jack Gonzalez would be happy to publish those things, send them out to you if you request them. So I think that's one of the things, or we don't need to be subsidizing a dying industry like newspapers.
Okay, awesome. And you did mention you were a county commissioner. Is there any other public kind of service you've done before considering this run?
Well, as a county commissioner, you serve on a lot of different boards. I've been on more than 20 different boards and commissions since I was an Albany County, or when I was an Albany County commissioner. And you don't realize until you get in there how many things that are affected at that level. At the hospital, I mean, I did a lot of work with Ivinson Memorial Hospital, and then other things around Albany County. Like I say, more than 20 different boards and commissions.
Okay, awesome. Any final thoughts you have, and any way that people can reach you, website, phone, any of that information?
Well, I'm working on a Facebook page, which I'm a little late in the game on that, but it'll be up probably this week. And then my phone number and my emails are listed on the Secretary of State's websites. I'm accessible. I've had several people call me that don't have web access, especially elderly people. I talked with a woman for over an hour and a half the other night. She just doesn't have access to that. So one of the things I want to say, and I've always been accessible. So my phone number is published, my email is published. Please, anyone feel free to call me, email me anytime, and I will definitely return your call. I'm a 100% return call guy.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it, and I hope everything goes well with the rest of the COVID summer.
Oh, yes, me too.